It was a very merry spaghetti shootout last month. For Ryan, of course, that is. For Mark, it was another dismal, dreary loss. But we keep coming back for more, wondering if Mark will surprise us with a win. Hey, it's 2024. New year, new Mark? Let's find out. You know the drill. Our contestants debate their opinions and are awarded points solely at my, Jimmy here, discretion. The real highlight is sure to be the meatball of the month. You've submitted topic ideas in the comments via email, phone, carrier pigeon, and much more. We've selected one to add to the mix. Our Meatball of the Month winners get a prize in addition to the fame. This month's package includes a Diamondback 10x42 binocular, exclusive Vortex Nation podcast hoodie, $100 apparel package, and that classic cameo from Mark Boardman himself. We love the comments, so let's see a few from that last episode. At 220x, or is that 20,020x? I'm a huge fan of Monty Python, and an even huger fan of the Vortex Spaghetti Shootout. At Infamous Tactical says, how can you give Ryan points for hot water and chicken bouillon? That is psychotic shit. Last but not least, at Dr. Froghopper6711 says, you guys actually get paid to do this show? I'm astounded that I didn't think of this gig years ago. And that's it, everybody. It's time to exit the Caveat Corral onto our main street for the big shootout.
Oh, without further ado, let's jump right into this. We got a couple of meatballs. We got a couple of in-house productions on our topics. I'm trying to think about where we last left off. Inevitably, it was a Ryan victory, but, I don't really remember a lot of the specifics behind it.
Well, Jim, we left off playing what I like to call the impossible game, where nothing I do is right or good enough.
That's right. Thank you for the recap.
Yeah.
All right, so...
I play the home version a lot.
Because of that glittering recap for Mark, I'm going to have him go first today. And let's bring up topic number one. Oh, best shotgun of all time for bunny busting. Mark, please begin.
Jim, this is an easy one. The best shotgun for bunny busting is the one that you got or the one that you have access to, because the most important thing is that you go. Small game is something that often gets ignored, overlooked. I think people are starting kids off with deer and things like that when they should really be starting with small game. It's not rocket surgery. You can run an old pump, you can run a single shot, you can run an auto. Doesn't really matter. They are susceptible to any of them. Now, if you made me pick, because Ryan, I've been looking maybe for something a little bit more sophisticated these days. I've been looking at a couple side-by-sides, possibly like a CZ Bob White, a Weatherby Orion, in the over-under category, a Browning Satori, or even the Franke. There's a Franke SL, Instinct SL. I kind of like that. All of these are very, I'd say, wood-stocked, more traditional, classic, but moderately priced, and I feel like they would be just fantastic in the bunny woods.
Right?
Spoken from a gentleman who owns a shotgun, but does not go rabbit hunting.
Which, that goes into what I said originally. The one you got is the best one.
Anyway, my personal opinion on this is a 20 gauge shotgun. I'm very particular about either a superposed barrel or a side-by-side barrel, and that is just for flair. There's no real technical advantage to running a two-barreled gun, but dang it, you look good doing it. And looking good, that's 9/10 of the whole thing. I recently picked up a Benelli M2 20 gauge. This is a last year purchase. And that thing carries like a broomstick. What I really like about it is how lightweight it is. So if you're out there busting brush for bunnies, that's a tongue twister. You're carrying the gun around a lot. There's a lot of manipulation, a lot of moving, and it's hard on your equipment. I don't take my fancy guns out. Yep.
There you have it.
Can I add something?
Ryan gets a point for the hard stop right at the whip. That was pretty
nice
good.
hard stop. I did not mention these shotguns that I was thinking of 20 gauge as well, actually. I have a very strong affinity, for some odd reason, for 410s. I've always wanted some sort of side-by-side or over-under 410. The 28s are just so in vogue right now, but
very hot.
I'm too practical. And if I was going to get a gun of that nature, like we just talked about, I'm going with the 20.
You have an over-under 410.
Well, kind of.
Kind of, but kind of.
Hey, that'd be great for bunny busting.
It would be. It would be fun,
I
wouldn't it?
will say I hit most of my rabbits on my second shot, though, so that's...
Well, if they go enough out into the open, then you might have that running sniping shot.
We're talking about 22 over 410.
Correct. Yeah. So after the first round, Mark is up 18 to Ryan's 15. I felt like, Mark, you actually got some points just for, one thing I haven't actually ever elaborated on enough that I appreciate is the fact that your tonality in your voice always comes across as that comforting infomercial guy. And I appreciate that, so I gave you some points for that.
Okay,
I did
thank
subtract points at one time because it did say best shotgun of all time for bunny busting, and you proceeded to list about 7 after you said generically whatever one you have. So just be aware.
I'm
we were
aware,
looking for one.
I'm aware, but I stand by my statement.
You cleaned it up when you just brought them all back to one general subset of like features.
Yeah.
But just so you're aware.
Hey, I appreciate the constructive criticism.
I have to be transparent because if I'm not, otherwise you're going to go into, whoa, I lost a point just because you don't like me and the sky was blue today and, whatever. So, topic number 2, Ryan, you're going to start this one off, and it is, this is great. These are as surprising to me to see as they are to the guys here. So, are aliens amongst us? That's it. Ryan, please begin.
I'm going to take the first 5 seconds of this question to point out that Mark is continuing his single-use Nalgene with a new Nalgene. Are aliens amongst us? The answer is definitively.
Throw it in the ocean, create structure.
Give him a point.
We're going to make a reef out of Mark's old water bottles.
He's going to be like, hell yes. Are aliens amongst us? The answer is definitively yes. I have a long, now deceased, but longtime friend, customer of ours who worked at Area 51 and worked on the SR-71 project. And I said, I'm not going to use his name. I said, how is it that less than 40 years before, we had just discovered powered flight, and now we're going Mach classified at an 80,000-foot ceiling? And he says, what are you asking me? I said, did we have a little help? And he says, are you asking me, are aliens amongst us? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, of course they are. And then immediately changed the subject. He's credentialed, he knew, and by golly, I believe it too.
Jim, yeah, short answer. Yes, yes, and yes. I mean, it's been in the news. They've told us. It's somehow does this hit the news? How does this hit the news cycle? And people basically ignore it. And I'll go back to what Ryan said. 200 years ago, we're using tin cans and string. Now I've got a black box that I can call anybody around the world, watch any video I want, take pictures. I mean, this stuff doesn't just happen. Yes, we've had help. And if you want to ask a very reliable source, she's hard to get a hold of, but we saw her on her plane. It's that MFR is not real, lady.
Okay.
I didn't know where he was going with that, but
I didn't either.
Commanding.
She saw something that wasn't real.
And I saw her on TV the other night. She was doing like an interview. And then
they
were getting like the story, but she still couldn't tell the story. Why? Because they are keeping the story silenced.
She still couldn't tell the story. Like
Yeah.
she just could,
It's
like she
they
couldn't,
had her
like she
on to
couldn't
tell-
get it out.
They had her on to tell the story, and they're like, so yeah, what happened? She's like, well, I really can't talk about it. Like that was the story.
Wow, you'd think they would have vetted that ahead of time because a lot of viewers are really let down.
I was.
That's clickbait.
That's 100% clickbait. It's
Boy, I'm flubbing the words. a
Well,
little.
that's
Is-
because
is
you almost
clickbait
used some
among us?
extraordinary profanity.
Yeah.
true. It's true.
Can we
But I
say-
tell you what,
can
you've
we
really
even
been
say what we said.
you've really been going for it. Yeah, I think it's fine. It's just a couple of letters.
Could stand for anything.
We've really been seeing Mark going for it, all in, because he's up 36 to 28. That's a commanding lead
For this guy,
over
yes.
Ryan Muckenhern over here. Man, some thoughts though. I just can't help that. I love the topic of aliens. I grew up with a dad who still claims to be an alien. Never actually let on that he was joking or not. So I could be part alien or I don't know, adopted somehow. But
Jim, and that's actually I
Blinks
forgot to bring that
sideways.
up because he says it so stoically, straight-faced. And where's the best place to hide, Jim? In plain sight.
plain sight. I did also wonder, though, with us going from powered flight to Mach whatever at 80,000 feet so fast, that was in a time when safety Safety third, fourth, or not even at
Safety?
Safety third.
yeah, and nowadays safety is of course top of mind, which leads you to wonder: is it the aliens enacting all of the regulations which have then slowed us down from our original
Speed of progression.
of progression?
I-
They said,
interesting.
we're getting a little nervous. The humans might finally, after 1900 years, might finally be onto something.
Yeah, we got to throw in some like emissions regulations.
Right.
My personal opinion, not to continue to drag this on, is that we have an idea of how long we have been the modern species that we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was several master resets.
There's
that
been
had
several
occurred.
modern species.
Well, I mean,
of
once
us,
again,
yeah.
hiding in plain sight, Star Wars, everyone starts with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, and I think when we look at some of the superstructures that exist on this planet, and I'm going to use the pyramids as a good one, right? They still haven't figured out how that worked. Of all the things that we have mastered, figured out, and have apparently experts' answers on, we were talking about this before the show, it's speculation at best.
Well, then
How about that?
you see some of this, like, what do they call that kind of imaging that they do? Like,
LiDAR?
Yeah.
Yep.
mhm.
When they're doing it over dense jungle region, for instance.
And then you find curious
Oh,
things.
interesting. There's a giant pyramid there, and it happens to have celestial alignment. That they took like celestial drift or whatever they call that, where the
That's Tokyo Drift.
oh, you got it.
Yep.
Right. Yep.
Good movie.
Sorry, I didn't mean to correct you.
Huge
Lily.
left turn there.
Yeah.
Anyway, let us know what you think on the whole alien debacle. Moving on to topic number 3, Mark's going to start this one off. Let's see what it is. This one is, of course, a meatball, courtesy of XLNC_YL.
What do you
there
reckon
a-
that means?
Zuntziyul.
XL North Carolina, big North.
Big North Carolina, YOLO. Which New Year's resolution do you recommend your opponent make, and will they be able to keep it? So this is going to be interesting to hear.
Yeah.
What do you suggest that your opponent does for their New Year's resolution, and do you think that they can actually do it? Mark, go.
Jim, I suggest that my good friend Ryan finally embraces the fact that he does, in fact, live in the great state of Wisconsin and embraces our fantastic and extremely long archery whitetail deer season. He doesn't do it every year. He completely disregards it. It's the best hunt in the state. Whitetail hunting is one of the most fun things you can do. Excuse me. Archery hunting whitetails is one of the most fun things you can do. He doesn't
How'd that
do
go
it.
for you this year?
Huh?
Heard you grousing a lot about it.
I still had a great time.
Did you?
And the season's not over yet, Jim.
This is true?
Now, two-part question. Will he be able to keep it? Absolutely not. He'll find 10,000 different ways to not go archery deer hunting once again and miss out on, like I said, the best hunt in his home state.
My hope, my New Year's resolution for Mark, is that when he audits all of the gear he has, he uses his outdoor outerwear as outdoor outerwear instead of flexing on us here at the office, and he uses it more than one time. He has every color of the Stone Glacier Merino Zip. Every color they make.
There's two.
Really? Because there's gray, and there's green, and
Well, I
there's
don't have-
black. You have them all. We have
No,
photo
I have-
documentation.
I have two.
Liar.
Check the
He
tape.
He
uses
did just show up with a new puffy I'd never seen yesterday, and it was 2 colors,
shocking.
multicolor.
Shocking. He uses
I've
that
been doing that
equipment.
for 3 years.
He uses that equipment more than one time, and he uses it in the appropriate application. If a guy was to need a pack, just go to Mark's house. He'll have you outfit. I want him to see it, use it more than once. Will he stick to it? Absolutely not. He has a disease. He can't help himself.
There you have it.
That's like completely unfounded. Like all of that is so unfounded. I use that gear all the time, multiple
As
times.
daily wear. You wear it as daily wear.
Yeah.
And it's a weird flex, bro.
Durability testing. Those are my favorite shirts. They're great for the field and the office.
Mark, you lost a point there. You were at
Oh, what
47, you're at
happened?
46
What
now.
did I do?
I couldn't help but notice that you got pretty defensive
I did
and
because
didn't
he's
look
making
introspectively,
accusations.
as I'm sure Ryan did, based on the fact that I didn't hear any rebuttals or defensiveness
Because-
from his side of the table.
Point of order. Point of order.
Allowed.
He
Whatever the word
was
is.
lying. I was not.
Very, very interesting, Ryan.
Sir.
Well, okay. I could see how in your mind he would be lying.
I've been using the same Stone Glacier pack for most of my big game hunting the last 3 years. Seeing a lot of.
I know.
We also, though, need to discuss what pack you use for your go-to-work pack.
I've been using a more appropriately sized one.
You didn't move into a more appropriately sized pack?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know with certainty that you have 3 Stonies, at least.
Have 2.
Hold up, though. How many Stonies do you have?
1.
Is that true?
1.
You've bought a lot for other people, though.
I have 1 Stone Glacier pack. And why this is so significant to me personally is because he absolutely chastised me for buying it. You'll never love it. He hurt me here,
Yeah.
and now he runs them.
Big fan.
You have
I was jealous.
a Sky Talus.
No, I don't. You don't even know what I have.
If I find a picture of you wearing a Sky Talus,
You won't.
are you sure?
100%.
Okay.
Because I have a very similar.
And you have
pack.
an EXO in the same size.
No, I don't.
With the brown one. Not EXO. No, I said the wrong pack name. You have a gray,
See,
a
he
brown,
doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's
6,900
completely lost.
Mark, I just-
6,900
I
cubic
eat- I
inch
just-
pack. And you have
You
that
can't
aura.
resist.
The
You have that
aura.
new
Because he was
From your
lying.
side
Who
of the
doesn't get
table.
defensive when somebody lies about him?
You say you have 2 of the Stone Glaciers. in
Liar.
yours?
Yeah, I do have 2.
So black, gray, and green. That's 3.
Oh, I thought you said no. I've got the 2 backpacks. They perform different functions.
They do?
Yes. Can we move on?
I guess we can move on. Who started that one? Mark?
Whitetails are silly.
XL North Carolina YOLO, thank you for that one. You're going to get some great stuff. Topic number 4, the animal we should open up a season for. So Ryan is going to start this round. Ryan, please begin.
I'm going to just come out here and say it. I think in Wisconsin we have a license called Conservation Patron, which is a great license. It gets you everything that you need. I think attached to the Conservation Patron's license for an additional $25, there should be 2 locking tags for sandhill cranes. My thought is on this, not a lot of Conservation Patrons licenses are sold in the first place, and of those that are sold, I think a small percentage of people are utilizing all of the tags on there. I realistically utilize maybe a deer, and small game. I leave on the, and turkey. I leave on the table pheasant, all the fish. I really don't do that kind of thing. I think you tack $25 on there, 2 locking tags. You get a small subset of people that are actually going to pursue that critter, and a smaller subset of people that are going to do it indefinitely and continually, and that are going to be successful. Only 2 tags. That's all I want is 2 locking tags, sandhill cranes.
Brian, it makes sense. The populations are such that it can support harvest. As a purchaser of the patron license every year, I would spend the additional money and buy those locking tags.
Yep. Do you even think you'd use them? Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. But it would be great for conservation.
But I'd have them in my pocket.
Yep.
It's nice to have the option.
Is it my turn, Jim?
It's your turn, Mark.
Can I have a little, anyway,
You had a very cordial quorum with Ryan. Yes, you get an extra 20 seconds.
Okay, fantastic. Jim, there's a lot of seasons that we should be opening right now. Oh boy, grizzlies in the lower 48 in states like Idaho, Wyoming, Montana. We could open up a season for Colorado's wolf population. I should get 10 points for that. But no, Jim, I'm going with pinnipeds. That's right, I'm on a mission to bolster wild salmon and steelhead stocks in the Pacific Northwest. And how are we going to do it? We're going to put a dent in our seal and sea lion populations.
you.
These things have been protected, gone unchecked since the early 1970s. Their populations are completely out of whack. They have exploded. They're having incredibly negative impacts on these salmon and steelhead stocks that so many things depend on. We cannot manage our prey species without managing their predators. And we're going to do that through sustainable harvest of these pinnipeds.
Mark, that was fantastic.
Thank you, Jim.
I was nervous. I was real nervous for you. You earned a lot of points
God
there
dang
in the
it.
second half of your argument because at first we started with a list. When the question asked for
I
one.
like to do
But you did give a final, definitive, and very, very strong argument.
From here. You know, I got too narrow
You
focused.
can tell where this guy's from.
For some reason, I just thought the state of Wisconsin. That's all I thought.
Jim,
And you're right. Like, you're right. Mark is right.
we're doing a lot of ballot box biology these days.
Yep.
Would you get into the Penapid hunt?
Yeah.
Would you be out there?
Friend of mine.
Guaranteed.
What's a
of mine.
great Penapid cartridge? I love saying that word. I don't use it enough.
You know, okay, having never done it, right? So I'm speaking from zero experience. Dude, I'm probably just going with 30-06.
There's a lot of mass
A lot of
there, but how much
blubber-ish.
how much structure beneath that are we dealing with?
I would
What
say,
kind
if I was to speculate how it would go down, I think you're taking primarily headshots.
yeah, I mean you're not going to be probably undergunned with a 30-06. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Sea lions are large.
They're
Like
big.
very large animals. There's that great video of the sea lion that's like on the, I don't do ocean things, but it's like a giant dock, a pier, if you will. Then there's like a restaurant or a fish market. And that sea lion comes running out of it and goes, "Ugh," and jumps
Just
into the
yeets
ocean.
itself into the ocean.
And when you look at the size and scale of that animal, it's like a buffalo, man.
But like how much? I gotta know how much structure there is there. When you see them move around,
Yeah.
they look like they're just made out of like.
And there's a lot of blubber there, yeah. Well, the 222 was a very popular seal cartridge. Now seals are different than sea lions. They're very different.
They're still big.
Yeah, but a seal and a sea lion are a different animal. I think 30-06 is founded. I guess the big question is expandables or solids?
I don't know. I don't know if you need to
how to
think
sell
about like
Penetration.
Right.
Mark's right. You're gonna zap
like
them
skipping. Is there a skipping issue if it hits the water? As far as I don't know.
I think anything else skip. That's tough. That's tough.
Don't miss.
That'd be a heck of a shot, skipping one into a Penapid.
Yeah, I didn't know where you were gonna go with
Skipping
that.
rocks.
That was
Dude,
good.
it needs to be
Good
addressed.
stuff.
Hey, you know what? Let's take it a step further. I think we also need to take a hard look at otters too and their impact
Sure.
on shellfish.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tougher one.
These ecosystems are
It's gonna be a tougher one to get past.
on the cuteness factor.
Oh
they're
my
level
gosh.
12.
Well, they're
Yeah.
level 12, and it just seems like these days it's like
I'll
with
s-
Instagram and all this other crap,
can't-
everyone's just all about the cute animals.
We can't be managing wildlife,
based
our
on
fisheries and
appearance.
wildlife based on cuteness.
What,
Oh, absolutely.
What I'll say is this: like, if you give a species an opportunity to be hunted, generally speaking, the people who are hunting it are going to adopt that species, like take it under their
Mm-hmm.
proverbial wing and protect it. It's an interesting quandary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's like the Texas guys with hogs, because you ask them, like, if you had your choice, would you eradicate all
Yeah.
hogs in this entire state?
oh,
And you're like,
whoa,
oh,
whoa.
no, oh, hold up. I like hunting them a lot.
But like, I used to do a lot of waterfowling, like it was my driving obsession. And if you told me, if you could prove to me that if I stopped hunting ducks, if I hung up my calls, my decoys, and my gun, that the duck population would in perpetuity flourish and grow and burgeon, yeah, I would say, yep, we'd hang it up because we don't want to destroy them. But we know that's not true. We know that the millions of dollars generated for wildlife conservation, and not just that particular species, but the ecosystems that they reside in, it falls on the shoulders of the hunters, like, period. And I don't think it would be a bloodlust thing. I don't think people are going to go out there and try to wax every
No, nobody's
seal,
saying
sea otter, and
eradication.
sea lion.
Nobody's
No.
saying eradication.
And I think that from that, we then identify that resource as something that we have to protect as well. Manage is an interesting word.
We should do it. I heard those seal and sea lions a bit of an acquired taste, is it not?
Bad.
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
I ate bowhead whale once too. Oh God. If I was marooned on an island and one of those washed up fresh, I think I'd still starve to death. Man, that was tough to eat.
You'd figure it out.
There's gotta be a way.
You ever eaten a merganser?
I haven't.
You ever had one of them fish oil pills?
Yeah.
Leave that sucker in the sun.
Leave it in the sun.
Leave it in the sun, and then like wrap it in blue cheese, and then that's what you get.
Who was on my team of these two, of you two, on the whole blue cheese sucks thing? You?
Yeah, he voted for it.
Horrible. A lot of commenters said they love the blue cheese, though.
Blue cheese is fantastic.
I'm back on it. I
Yeah,
just
you'd really
gotta reiterate, awful cheese. One of the greatest farces and scams of our generation.
No.
Is making people think moldy cheese that
Let's
otherwise
go-
should have been thrown out is good.
If you took the entire building of Vortex and you had you said, would you like some blue cheese or some goat cheese? Blue cheese wins, guaranteed. Guaranteed.
I bet that the majority.
I'd take that bet. That would be an inch. Let's
I
do
bet
it.
that the majority of those people
Jim, you
haven't
can do
even
it
had
the,
goat cheese.
At the next birthday party, I'm going
Next
to ask
birthday.
that one blue cheese.
This
or
is
goat cheese.
fantastic.
Gotta
This
choose
is
one.
excellent news.
Okay, we've had a lot of tweener conversations here. Let's
Yeah.
move on to topic number 5. Who's going to start this? Mark is going to start this. Thank you, MC
man.
Ryan. Topic number 5 is also a meatball. David L. via email. You can email us your suggestions. You can hit us up via Instagram. It's not always YouTube comments. David L., you're going to win some great stuff. Thanks a lot for submitting this one. If all 3 of you were starred on the show Naked and Afraid, what item would you bring and who would last the longest in the group? I'll give my item, I guess, after you two go. Mark, please begin.
All right, Jim, this is a tricky one. You usually get, I think, about 10 items or something like that. We're going with 1 and we're naked.
Yeah, you're most
This is going to be a tough.
and we're naked.
This is going to be a tough trip in the wilderness. Jim, I'm going with a reliable fire starter. You're naked, right? I'm temperature sensitive. You got to be able to stay warm. So it's going to give you warmth while you figure out a way to build your shelter. You know, you're going to have to do that somehow, and you're not going to have a cutting tool, because I would also love to bring a hatchet, which I don't get now. You're going to be able to boil water. Hopefully I can find some sort of can or something somewhere, so then I'll have a receptacle that I can boil water. So now I can purify water. I can stay warm. If I'm able to catch or kill something, I've got a way to cook it. So I'm going with a fire starter.
Good stuff, Mark.
I'm going to answer the last part of Mark's question because he left it off the table. Unabashedly, I last the longest.
Good point. Ooh.
I last the longest.
Oh, cripes. Let me just add on to it. Ryan, I do think Ryan lasts the longest because of his ability to forage. He knows more about foraging than I do. He's going to be able to find more food.
So here's the deal. I'm going to bring a sharp cutting tool because I knew Mark was going to bring a reliable lighter. I don't have to use the sharp cutting
Do we
tool.
get to use these things together?
We're naked and afraid, Mark. I know that all I have to do, you being naked, or excuse me, me being naked, you being afraid, is I just have to approach you while naked.
Yeah.
You drop the lighter.
Exactly. I would get afraid if you
drop
approached
the
me
lighter,
naked.
you run, I take your lighter, and
Not
I
doing
have a
this
hatchet.
again.
I boil water, you hide. I build a shelter, you hide. It's, I'm naked, you're afraid. I'm bringing an axe, a hatchet, something like that. I do last the longest.
Well, good points, Ryan. It didn't give you enough to launch yourself ahead of the onslaught that Mark really put on today. I don't know if there was any points where we found ourselves at the end of a round with Ryan ahead. Mark
needed this.
came out ahead early and stayed ahead,
Emotionally.
72 to 66. Mark really needed that. I didn't even know. We didn't talk beforehand about this.
His face.
But I mean, he's just, I can see. Golly, are you welling up?
He just like, it's like he's in traffic and like a massive semi-wreck. Cars flipping everywhere, fireballs and marches.
Mark's okay.
It's like this is in slow motion, you know?
Right now, he's coming down from the adrenaline dump. He just needs to sit down. He's taking that lighter. He's bringing it naked in your face.
Oh man, you know that there's going to be a huge crash from this. All the caffeine and all the pre-workout and all that other stuff.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Good night. Mark, very well done. You're going to get your last crack here. David L. asked all 3 of us what we would all 3 bring.
Yeah.
I'd just bring a dirt bike and I'd ride the hell out of there. I'm not hanging out with you guys. So it's...
He just comes by every so often, stays naked, somehow comes up with a set of sunglasses.
Just fishtails some dirt into our face
and he's got like a Quiznos footlong. He's like,
I haven't had a Quiznos in too long.
what are you guys doing? You still naked? You still afraid? takes a bite.
I'm just not, I can't get into it. I watch people do Naked and Afraid, and I'm like, I don't.
Here's what I don't like about that.
I had to just get out of there.
I don't like the nakedness. You're right, Ryan.
And the fear. You also don't like being afraid.
And, well, Ryan's nakedness, we talked about this, is what makes me afraid. I don't like, somebody made this comment on the show one time. They were doing it like pop-up video style, you know? And they're like, they should call this Naked and Starving. And I'm like, you know what? They're right. Like, nobody's set up for success. Like, I would like to see a show where they're set up for success and they've got some gear and you can see what kind of like Swiss Family Robinson
situation
culture they can create out there.
Yeah, that would be fun. You know, I actually had an idea once. I'm gonna go completely off, topic here. MC Ryan's over there like, would you just end? But I'm gonna go completely off topic. You know, a lot of people do these. It's similar to sort of what you were talking about. A lot of people will do 5K, and then they put a dumb, they get a sticker. 5K shirt, and then put a dumb sticker on their car, and this, that, and the other thing, because 5K, well, that's great. Because you go 5,000 miles, and as Michael Scott would say, what is it, 5 kilometers or something? I don't know. My idea is a 5K, and it's actually done at, say, one of these breweries with like a big lawn or something like that. And you enter, and what you have to do is for 5,000 minutes, you get a postage stamp on their lawn, and you can bring whatever you can fit into your postage stamp, and you can't leave. And you have to stay there for 5,000 minutes. Straight.
How long is the math? How long is 5,000 minutes?
It's like 2.5 days or something. It's pretty easy.
But a postage stamp.
Okay, like what about...
Oh yeah, like a postage stamp, like no bigger than the size of this table.
What about relieving yourself?
Postage stamp.
I think that there's a judge, and you have to raise like a flag of some sort, like I need to be relieved, and then they need to come over and they need to ask you a series of questions to assess whether or not you're being real.
How bad do you have to go?
Yeah, exactly. And if you're actually being realistic, then you can quick go to the bathroom and you get, a minute and a half.
Quick put the polygraph on you and...
Yeah. Did you do anything else? Did you use your phone? Or whatever. But that's my idea.
Okay.
It's a 5K,
Sounds
but
weird.
for lazy people.
I can't wait to do this with you.
What?
Naked and Afraid.
We're not doing it.
Yeah,
this
back
is just
on that.
a pretend show.
I don't know.
We're not doing it.
I don't know if you have a choice in the matter.
Can I do my last crack so I
David
can
L. already.
leave?
Yeah, just do your last crack, whatever.
All right, Jim, Ryan, you guys know I like to hunt, and hunting seasons are winding down. At least, a lot of our big game seasons are winding down. But some seasons are just winding up. And I guess my last crack and suggestion to people would be, in the new year, pick something that you have not done before and go do that. That could be rabbit hunting. That could be going on an out-of-state hunt. Do something you haven't done before. It'll broaden your hunting experience. It'll broaden your palette of knowledge, and it'll make you a better person.
What are you going to do? What's your choice?
Oh, gosh.
Do you need more time to think on that, and maybe in a future episode?
I've been thinking, this will be, snowshoe hares. That's the thing that I want to do this year that I haven't done before, and I think we'll likely do that. Jim, you can go if you want.
Let's do it. Time's ticking.
Let's go.
Springs.
Not clothed.
Spring's around the corner already.
Clothed snowshoes.
There it is. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for, if anybody is out there still listening, thank you for managing to survive through all of our rabbit trails and digressions throughout this round. Mark won one. Doesn't happen often.
I can't
Don't
call
blink. This is the equivalent, the spaghetti shootout equivalent of the Halley's Comet or a vernal equinox. So
Don't
take
get
note,
used to it.
Appreciate what you've just witnessed. Tell your children and their children's children. Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
We did it.
So
If Mark would have lost this one, I think spaghetti shootout would be completely and utterly doomed into
he's gonna walk out of the
extinction.
room. He's gonna walk out of the room, and we're just gonna see like he gets out the door and just.
What happened?
And just out.
What happened?
Just starts crying.